Hello, today we are going to be talking about pavement markings. So the first pavement marking we're going to be talking about is a yellow line. Now, a yellow line separates traffic moving in opposite directions. Okay, now, as you can see here, the yellow line is always going, so if you're heading this direction, okay, the yellow line is always going to be on your left. Okay, again, same direction. The yellow line is always on your left. Now, in this bottom picture here, on the bottom left picture here, even though there is a jersey wall, a barrier, the yellow line is still on your left. Okay, because again, regardless whether there's a barrier or not, a median or not, the yellow line separates traffic moving in opposite directions. Now, with the yellow line, it can either be broken or solid. So again, in the top picture, a broken line indicates passing is allowed with caution. Okay, so I want to make that very clear. If a line is broken, passing is allowed with caution. Now, if in the bottom picture, if a line is solid, passing is not allowed. Okay, so again, solid lines, passing is not allowed. Broken lines, passing is allowed with caution. Now again, even though it is a yellow line, even though in the top picture it is a yellow line, but it's still broken, you can pass as long as the way is clear. Now down below, again, it separates traffic going in opposite directions, but it's solid, so you cannot pass. Okay, so again, yellow lines, whether they're broken or not, they separate traffic going in opposite directions. Okay, so again, this is where it gets a little tricky because again, you have a yellow line that separates traffic going in opposite directions, but again, you have two yellow lines. Okay, so the side here with the blue car, okay, it has a solid line on its side. That means that that blue car or any cars on that side of traffic cannot cross the yellow line, regardless for whatever reason. Now, down here, the purple car, they have a broken yellow line on their side, okay, as you can see. Okay, they can cross the yellow line, they can pass only if the way is clear. Okay, so again, if you're in a situation like this where you have two yellow lines that separate traffic going in opposite direction, follow the line that is on your side of the road. That is on the first line that is on your left. Okay, white lines separate traffic going in the same direction. Okay, and they mark the edge of the roadway. So the edge of the roadway is going to be in this top left picture, okay, to the right of my red line. Okay, so that white line right there, that's the edge of the roadway. That white line should always be on your right. Okay, that white line should always be on your right. That separates your driving path, your lane, from the shoulder where you can pull over for whatever reason. Okay, again, so white lines separate traffic going in the same direction. Again, white lines can also be broken, as in the top left picture and top right picture, or they can be solid, as in the bottom left picture here. Okay? So again, yellow separates traffic going in different directions. White separates traffic going in the same direction. Okay, so again, here a couple of different examples of white lines, white pavement markings. Okay, so again, in this top right picture, this is the stop line that we talked about for signals. This is the stop line, the line that's above my red line I just draw. That's the stop line. That means your car must be behind that white line. Okay, because again, that white line separates your car, your lane, from the crosswalk. Okay. Now again, if there is no stop line present, which is in this picture and this picture, you want to stop before the crosswalk and before the stop sign. Again, make sure your car has ample space between you and the crosswalk for pedestrians, cyclists, dog walkers, kids, whatever it may be. Now, parking spaces also have white lines, as you can see in the bottom picture. Okay, again, it's a solid line. You cannot cross it. Okay, so when you're parking, make sure your car fits between your white lines. Okay, and in the bottom right picture, the arrows, again, these refer to what your lane can do. So in the right picture here, in the right lane here, where I just drew my red squiggle, okay, that lane can go straight and turn right. The left lane where I drew something, I don't even know, a downward arrow, that lane can go straight or turn left. Okay, so again, so pavement markings refer to lines on the road, and they can also refer to arrows informing of what your lane can do at specific moments in time. Okay, shared left turn lanes. Okay, this is where it gets a little confusing because a shared left turn means left turns from either direction can use the middle to both turn left. Okay, so as you can see in the bottom left picture, if you're in this lane where I just drew my arrow, you're going this way. Okay, you can cross this solid yellow line, okay, to enter this area here, okay, and then use the broken yellow line to make your left turn. Okay. Now, again, if you're going this direction, okay, you can cross your solid yellow line, enter the merge area here, the shared middle lane, and then because you have a broken yellow line on your side, you can make your left turn. Okay. And again, shared left turn lanes aren't as popular in Northern Virginia as they are around other parts of the country. Just be aware when you are using one, you can only be in one for, I believe, 150 feet, maybe 200 feet. But again, you cannot cruise down this middle lane just because traffic is being slow. You can only be in the shared left turn lane when you are turning left. If there are any questions on this, feel free to ask me in class. I know this is a little confusing. Just please feel free to ask to make sure you understand this topic. Okay, so again, as you can see down here, I was right about my 150 comment. But again, so make sure that if you are in a shared left turn lane, that you are only in there when you need to make your left turn. Okay. Okay, so as I went over before, again, you can see this graphic here. You have your stop line, which is right here. Again, your car should not cross that white line. Now, when you're driving, you may see people cross this white line. You may cross this white line. Your parents may cross this white line. That is wrong. Okay, you want to make sure your car is behind the stop line. Okay. For multiple different reasons. One, to make sure that there's plenty of space between your vehicle and the crosswalk and the pedestrians using it, and any cars that are going to be turning left, okay, you want to give them ample space between where your car is and them turning left, okay, so make sure you're behind the stop line at all times at an intersection. Okay, and again, follow the arrows that are in your specific lane and what you can and cannot do. So again, bottom lane here on the bottom left, okay, this lane can only make a left turn. This lane here can go straight or make a left turn. Okay, so again, in this lane right here, there are no pavement markings. Okay, so you can probably go straight and turn right if needed. Okay. okay? Again, if there are any questions about pavement markings, please let me know. But again, follow all instructions that are for your specific lane. And one other thing on this, before I forget, is when you are driving, okay, at an intersection, these are solid white lines here. Okay, you should not be changing lanes. You should not be crossing over these lanes, okay, when you're in this part of the intersection. Okay, so it's very important that you identify what you have to do at the intersection before you get to it. Whether you have to turn left, whether you have to turn right, whether you can go straight. But again, these are solid lines, which means you should not cross them. Okay, so again, with pavement markings, okay, and lanes, they can do one of the different things. You can have, okay, like in this picture on the left, you have 3 lanes of traffic, all going in the same direction. You can change lanes, you can change lanes between them as long as it's safe. But again, the solid white line, the edge of the road is always on your right, and the solid yellow is always on your left. Okay, so white is always on your right to indicate the edge of the roadway, and the far left lane is always going to have a yellow line on their left to indicate the separation of traffic going in opposite directions. Okay, so reversible lanes. Okay, this is very similar to when we talked about signals for vehicles going into tunnels and bridges. But again, the same thing can occur. So just make sure that you are aware of what's going on in your lane and what you can and can't do. Again, if there's a red X above your lane, like in here in the left lane, can't go in that lane. Green arrow, like in the middle on the right, you can go in that direction. Okay, so for those of you who've ever been to Ocean City, Rehoboth, Delaware, or driven to the Eastern Shore, whatever it may be, you can see here this is the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Okay, right here. It's a very big bridge. And they have their reversible lanes right here. So at this point, at this time of the day, this lane is going this direction. You're allowed to be in that direction. These lanes here, you are not allowed to be in because they have traffic coming in towards the camera. And that's my attempt to draw an arrow. But again, as you can see, so again, just make sure you follow all instructions on those things. And again, red and X means get out of there. Okay, and again, yellow, it's going to be changing, so you need to get out of there. Okay, so now pavement markings, okay, these for reserved or restricted lanes. Now, as you can see here on this picture, there is a diamond here, there's a diamond here. That indicates HOV, and HOV stands for high occupancy vehicle. Okay, so those lanes are specifically reserved for cars carrying a certain number of people. Okay, now, it's going to be tough to see, but down here on this sign here, it says HOV2 only. So what that means is to be in this lane, okay, you must have at least 2 people in your vehicle. Okay, they do this to promote carpooling and to get more people off there. If more people are driving and riding in one car, that's less people on the road, which can speed up traffic. Okay, so it's to encourage carpooling. Okay, but again, HOV stands for high occupancy vehicle. Okay, and also I forgot to mention, certain lanes have time frames for them. So, for example, take our area around here, HOV lanes in the morning, HOV lanes going into Washington, D.C. are active. It could be HOV2 or HOV3. Okay, but from 5:30 in the morning until 9 a.m. Okay, and then HOV lanes going out of the city can be available from 4:30 to 6:30. Okay, so it'll tell you on the sign, on the specific sign, what your time frame is. And if it does not specify a time frame, that means that lane is strictly for HOV, again, high occupancy vehicles. Okay, some pavement markings also as well. Again, handicap. Again, hopefully you understand what that graphic means. It means that that lane, that parking space is reserved for individuals who are handicapped. Okay, curb markings, yellow, not allowed to park there. Okay, and again, multiple turn lanes, which we've already went over. Okay, so again, this is just to review. Again, HOV lanes. This is a real shot of a road. And again, HOVs on the left there. Okay, bicycle lane. So again, now this is becoming more and more popular. Certain places, towns, cities will have bicycle lanes, which are lanes specifically reserved for people using bicycles. Cars cannot be in those lanes. Pedestrians cannot be in those lanes. Only people riding bikes. And then you have bus lanes, which is same thing as the bicycle lane. Those lanes are strictly reserved for buses. Okay, you cannot be in those lanes. You cannot pass in those lanes. Those lanes are strictly reserved for buses. Okay, some other pavement markings. You'll have not only at road crossings, you'll have your warning sign. You'll have your crossbuck. Okay, and then depending on it, you should have a railroad crossing stop line, which is right here. Then you have your graphic to indicate, hey, up ahead there's a road crossing, in case you didn't see the warning sign or the crossbuck. And again, now for pavement markings, there can also be a school on the ground or school zone run on the ground. Again, that's to indicate, hey, you're entering a school zone. Okay, so in this picture, this is very important. Okay, so you have your yield sign here. Okay, which we talked about yield. Wait for the way to be clear before you go. Okay. Now, if you're ever driving and there are triangles painted on the pavement, okay, that the tip of the triangle, as you can see, is pointed towards you, that means you must yield. Okay, you must yield to cars that are already on the road, that you want to get onto. You must yield. Okay, so if there's triangles painted on the pavement and the point of the triangle is pointed towards you, you must yield to cars that are on the road and you want to enter onto. And again, just to review, you have a left turn only lane, you have a straight and left turn only lane. So again, make sure you indicate this. Again, in most intersections, you'll have a pavement marking down the bottom, like you'll see there. And then sometimes they may also have signs next to the traffic signals that indicate what certain lanes can do as well. All right, if you have any questions on pavement markings, please feel free to let me know. All right, thank you.